Let's see. Let's like to get like I guess 5, 10 viewers. Let's see what's up. Make sure we're live. Okay. Hmm. Let's see if this is good to go. Oof, alright, cool. We have viewers. What's up, guys? It's your boy, Hilaire here. We're gonna have legends on the Discord, which just sure like I'm gonna have to take out my mic so you can hear them. 1 second. Alright, I'm about to put this over here so you can hear the boy Legends. Yo, Legends, you still there? He's in Discord. He probably left to do something real quick, but he's still in the Discord. Alright, start bringing in the questions, guys, because once our boy Legends has returned, we will start deep diving into the state of Rogue, this format. So it's a really interesting segment too. So when you hear it, you're gonna be like, what in the world? Dun, dun, dun. What time is it? 10:05. Let's give him 3 minutes to jump back on. I'll message him in the team chat to see if he's still here. Oh, he says he thought I disconnected. Nah, bro. I definitely think it's you. Alright, I'm playing right now to join and rejoin. He's in the Discord right now. Let me get out to you so I can see. So yeah, I have everything off. Volume's up. You hear me now? Alright, perfect. Alright, Twitch chat, let us know if you can hear us. It's your boy, Hilaire, and it's the boy, the invoker god himself, Mr. Legends. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
What's up, man? It's feeling good. What's up, okay, man?
Pretty good. Alright, guys in the chat, you guys heard him. If the volume's too low, let me know. I'll put the phone closer to the computer, I guess. I'm still not with all this OBS and all that good stuff. That's my boy Figs. But we're gonna do what we can by improvising, adapting, and overcome. Alright, cool. G-Cam says he can hear it. What's up, G-Cam? Alright, so for tonight's segment, right, we're gonna talk about we're gonna pick up from where we left off, I believe it was on Wednesday. We're talking about the meta. Alright, because you guys know how we do, right? We always said the meta was a triangle. Right now, we discussed in the last segment, the meta went from being a triangle to kind of a I know this is a rectangle, but let's just say this is a square for tonight's purpose, right? So our here it's actually pretty good. I ain't gonna lie, 'cause there's 3 white borders. This is really really good, honestly. Let's pretend this is a square, not a rectangle. So the top dog right here in our meta, this is the Dragon Ball meta. The top dog right here is Red Broly, and the one right here you have Mecha Frieza, and the one right here you have Dark Broly, and the one right here you have Rogue. Now the reason why I say Rogue is because it's not that the deck is bad or anything like that. The thing about Rogue is it's unexpected, right? And the reason why, in my opinion, Rogue could do fire is because of the main reason I'm about to tell you right now. This is literally a square, not a rectangle. This is a square, guys. Imagine it being a square. Once Red Broly removes itself from the picture, it flips around like this, where Rogue can just come in and salvage both Dark Broly and both Mecha Frieza, because the Dark Broly and Mecha Frieza, they're really weak to floodgates, right? A lot of floodgates could literally lock these 2 decks out and just make life a miserable hell for them. But the thing about when Red Broly's on top, Red Broly puts in check all of these rogue decks that you would normally see. Because, for instance, I have gameplay of Robert Riti playing Team Wars. I recorded all of his matches. I believe all of them were set 12 decks. And all of them were set 12 decks in the hands of really, really good opponents. I think the best player in the game, well, at least on the East Coast, is Travis Washburn. I know on the West Coast, it's Tim Palacios. But he played Travis in a launch. Travis squared up, and then the thing was good. And I believe him. Travis said it literally made to be Red Broly. And he told him at the end of the round, hey, Robert Riti was the first person to play Red Broly and beat his launch deck, because Red Broly in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing is just that dominant. It is just that suppressive. So once Red Broly is in the meta, it suppresses it really, really suppresses the rogue decks that are not Mecha Frieza or Dark Broly. But once Red Broly takes a leave of absence, it literally flips to where now Rogue could come in and cause havoc on Mecha Frieza, cause havoc on Dark Broly. But once again, if Red Broly's on top, the 2 decks that just have the matchup down and makes it really, really impactful for them, it's only Dark Broly and it's only Mecha Frieza, if that makes sense. Are you following? You agree with what I just said, Legends?
Yeah, I mean, that's an absolutely apt way to put it. I mean, in simpler terms, like Red Broly, it's a gatekeeper, right? If your deck can't beat Red Broly, it's got to be able to beat the other 2 decks. And unfortunately, Red Broly is just so efficient of a deck that it can just check all these other decks that want to play. And the reason why Dark Broly and Mecha Frieza are even part of the triangle is that they naturally check Red Broly just as easily as Red Broly can check these other decks. And that's why Richard wants to triangle.
Alright, I'm putting the phone closer to the mic. I think they said it was hard to hear you, so I'm going to put it down here, and hopefully we'll have a good thing. Alright, so do me a favor and repeat what you just said, because they said it was hard to hear you, so I just put it closer to the mic so they can hear you.
I'm repeating it. And so, the easiest way to explain the triangle is that Red Broly is a gatekeeper in this game right now. Your deck has to be able to take on Red Broly. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that deck is just so efficient and consistent at what it does that it can check any deck that can't keep up with it. However, the reason why Dark Broly and Mecha Frieza are part of this so-called triangle are because they naturally can check Red Broly right back. So thus creating this triangle. However, because 2 of the 3 decks of this triangle check Red Broly so well, there now allows for an opportunity for rogue decks to play.
Yeah, that's what perfect analogy with the square. So, with that being said, we're by no way, shape, and form am I saying rogue decks are bad. But when Red Broly is in the meta, rogue decks become almost impossible to play just because of the way Red Broly comes in and dominates, right? When you combine hand destruction with critical, it's something I don't think we've ever seen in this game. The closest we come to seeing that, in my opinion, is when I used to play Mono Green Gohan, because you can literally, in Mono Green Gohan, you can literally destroy your opponent's hand while hitting them with the triple strike crit, right? But besides that, I don't ever think I've seen the combination of both hand destruction combined with critical. We've seen hand destruction in the past with Piccolo. In my opinion, one of the best decks ever made. Top 5, 100% guaranteed. We've seen critical decks such as Set 1 Vegeta. But I'm trying to think, do you ever recall something with both critical and hand destruction aspect?
No, because it's an unfair combination.
Yeah.
The recovery factor against
and recovery, that's right.
Yeah. You got to be able to has the ability to take away your recovery, like how do you fight back?
Yeah. So, with that being said, we want to let you guys know what to look forward to going to this meta, because the meta, it's very, very interesting. I don't know if Red Broly is not being played, because, like I said, the same thing with Mecha Freezer, right? We're going to do our best to help you guys pilot these decks to the best of your natural ability and the best that the deck can do itself. So I felt like a big thing Mecha Freezer didn't really break through last weekend was the fact that people just didn't really understand what cards needed to be in their main board to combat the meta. Specifically, I'm referring to the Vegeta's Fury Unison. Like, I thought it was a given, but apparently it wasn't. There's other cards too, as well as Warcry. I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think that should be main deck, only because if you're going against Dark Broly, you top 2 for that. The likelihood is you're going to have to either A, take a life for Nimbus, or start using cards for your, from your extra cards in order to from your life in order to still play the game. Whereas if you play without the Warcry in the main deck itself, you can have it in the sideboard for obvious matches that you wanted in. But if you play without the actual Warcry in the main board, you have access to more stuff such as the Slug, which kills the mirror match in my opinion. Because the only way you out the Slug, like we said in the last video, I'm not going to get that deep into it, is the Vegeta's Final Flash. And it allows you access to have a broader, more lockdown, oppressive deck, if that makes sense. So
yeah, absolutely. I definitely think Warcry is one of those traps in Mecha Frieza. Like, a year ago, Warcry was the best yellow card in the game, and arguably, like, one of the best cards in the game. And, like, today, it's just with things being played for way less than what Warcry costs, it's just so much harder to see Warcry be played. I mean, yes, there's synergy. It goes with Planet Vegeta, right? Like, you can combo it defensively, you get this really cool beater. But, like, if you watch last week's event at PBG Miami, you can go around the room and you just see tons of mecha players with just fat Warcry stuck in their hands, unable to play them.
Yep. That's fast.
And like, I mean, there's alternatives. I mean, Eddie brought up the Slug here. The Slug is really good versus Red Broly. Let's say you go first, you discard on your turn 2, you can discard the 3-drop Slug to go get the 1-drop, and then evolve the 1-drop into the 3-drop, and now Red Broly can't search his deck. Like, it has its advantages too. It's playing stuff like the Slug. And you can always board in the Raiders Warcries if you need more aggro versus some of the more rogue style matchups.
Facts. 100%. So it's like, I don't know if that's what's going on with Red Broly at the moment, whereas people are just trying to take the chain and just try to cram it in together and make it work. Maybe people aren't understanding how you're supposed to most effectively utilize the chain. For instance, against Red Broly, you should know 100%. Yes, you may stick with Planet Bump as your turn 1, but going against Dark Broly, you're not going to bring out your chain. You could just bring something else out just to see what happens. But at the same time, if you do bring out your chain and you bring out the ball, that ball should search not one of your missing pieces, but another 1-drop TP, because you already know what's going to happen. If the Broly player warps your chain and you're unawakened, you're just screwed. So if you do go into a scenario, okay, cool, I have Planet Bampa and I do have my TP Broly from the Planet Bampa, you get your ball, what should ball be searching? Not your next piece, because you can't go into the next piece if they already warped what's on board and you have nothing to replenish it. So it's little stuff like that. I don't know if that's the issue with Red Broly, but I honestly, don't get it wrong, I was thankful I didn't see it, because not only is Red Broly oppressive, it also has an answer in Violent Rays, which kind of shuts down Dark Broly in my opinion, while you're still going on. And I don't want to go into great detail on how to pilot Red Broly versus Dark Broly, because that matchup right now, it's realistically speaking, if I'm being super objective, if I'm playing my version of myself and one's playing Red Broly, one's playing Dark Broly, yes, it's going to be a close matchup. But if Red Broly actually focuses on what to do, it's going to be really, really hard for Dark Broly to combat Red Broly, only for the sole fact that when Red Broly hits you, you're not ever going to see those cards. So you're going to have less cards as a Dark Broly player than a Red Broly player, and that's what's going to end up having the biggest difference in the matchup itself. But like I said, I don't know if people just don't know how to sequence it correctly or what, because it may be the prices too, because I do see things like Violent Rays, thanks to my boy Legends hitting me for 4 in a row, Violent Rays to go skyrocketing to $30 a pop. I do see stuff like Wolfang Fist, a free negate that I've been preaching for the longest. It is 100% free. You do not top 1 energy. It's free, 15k negate. free. That is also up in price. A lot of red cards are expensive because even yes, the TP Broly got reprinted, but it's still $35. And to go to playset, your best case scenario, you're picking up a playset for $100, which is still kind of pricey considering the fact that you still have to pick up your 6 jobs. You still have to pick up your Piccolo unit. Since the one thing I will tell Red Broly players, in my opinion, I'm looking to play the deck. I picked up 2 TPs from locals last night. I don't think Red Broly players should be maining the secret rare. I think it 100% should be in the deck, but it should be a side deck card. Because regardless if you win going first or second, there's certain matches where you're going first, it's like, okay, cool, I want this. You're going second, it's like, okay, cool, it may not be as efficient, but going against a certain deck, I know I'm going to be able to play it. It's things like that. Because right now in this current format, if you're going against a good, competent Dark Broly player, he's going to know, hey, skip his charge. And then when he does go to that charge where he can't play the 6 drop, just call the Broly. So you reset the chain and you're just stuck right then and there. So the only thing now you have to answer is a Violent Rage. But it doesn't matter at that time and point. Because if you keep Violent Raising a Broly, it's not going to answer the deck itself. Yes, you get stopped from getting clapped. But at the end of the day, it's going to cost you too. And it's going to keep costing you cards, especially if they keep warping the Ravager from your hand. Because the one thing about Red Broly is it saves its pieces, but the way it does it, it loses cards. Like, it creates advantage, but it loses cards. The Violent Rage loses your card. If you recur something else, like let's say if I pop anything and you drop the 4 drop, you drop the 3 drop, you lose another card. It loses cards really, really, really fast. So it could spiral down here from there really, really quickly. So
yeah, I mean, the deck doesn't really draw cards, right?
Yeah.
Like it searches its full pieces out. Maybe over the course of its games, it draws like maybe 6 cards an entire game. Like actually draws.
Yeah.
So as the Entropolator hit, you remove the board. Like yes, they can replace their board, but it does cost them a lot. And I mean, I can get my 2 cents on why I think Red Broly is like suffering right now too. Like we can all talk about the fact that like it's a linear deck, right? And like people are starting to figure out like where you can throw the monkey wrench into the engine to stop it. I think the other big part of it is that like people just don't want to play test with the deck. You know?
Yeah.
Like you get this really cool deck. You get this deck that wins on like turn 2 and 3, and you sit down with your friends, you're like, hey, you want to play a game of Dragon Ball? And your friend's like, yeah, and then you put Red Broly on the table, they're like, never mind. You know, so like, but if you want to be a competitive player, you're gonna have to sit down and just play test with me. You're gonna ask your friend, be like, hey, do me this favor, let's play test so I can figure out this matchup too. Otherwise, you're just gonna walk into these events, you're not gonna know how to play these matchups. And when I say play test, I mean like real play testing, right? Like, don't sit down and just play game 1s versus your buddies. Like, game 1s are cool, but you only play like 5 or 6 game 1s in Swiss. You end up playing 12 game 2s and 3s in Swiss. So when you play test, I honestly believe it's better to play test game 2 and 3s and figure out your side deck choices, figure out what works and what doesn't, stuff you might want to throw in the main as a result of that. And that's how you're really going to evolve, especially with a deck like Red Broly that now that the format has adapted to Red Broly, I think it's Red Broly's turn to adapt to the rest of the format again.
Yeah, that's well said. I ain't gonna lie, I like that a lot. Red Broly does have to adapt. Even though right now I still consider the top dog above the chain, Red Broly players just literally have to get around it. And one thing I'll add to what Legends was saying, which is perfect, about the playtesting sessions, your game 1s, honestly, when I use my game 1s and I playtest against someone, I make sure they open Octomon, right? Like when I was playtesting against Red Broly and they would whip out Planet Bomba and just only hit a ball, I'd say, no, go back in your deck. As long as you have a TP in there, it's fine. If all your TPs for some reason are in your life, whatever it is, I make them fix it, right? I'll make them always hit the 1-drop TP Broly from the Vlampa because we're playtesting. And you want to practice something. You want to practice. Because practice makes permanent, right? You want to practice, okay, cool, I'm going to win if he whiffs. I don't like ifs when I play games. I want, like, permanent. I want factual things that's going to happen. So when he plays the 1-drop, he has 1 or 2 things he's going to do against Dark Broly. That's why I know how to play against that deck. And if you just have a piece out and you just left it out, it's either 1, you didn't think it through, I'm going to warp it, or 2, you probably have another one in your hand. So that being said, I already have the knowledge that, okay, cool, this is going to be your next turn play. So now I have to play my turn and just try to mitigate your next turn. Because, like I said, it's either 1, you really didn't think I had the ball in the 1-drop, which is really, really ballsy, or 2, you have another one in hand. It's things like that I say, play test. Don't just sit down and play. When you play, make sure at least your game 1s, your opponent has exactly what they need. Because a lot of times I see people do it, and it's like, you know, when I was playtesting, he wasn't consistent. I'll tell you what, in events it's not like that. In events people will be consistent, especially if you start seeing later rounds. There's a reason why they're winning and they're still up there during the later rounds. It's because their deck is very, very consistent, and it's things like that. So I'm not gonna harp too much on Red Broly. I'll let Legends put his 2 cents in, and then we'll start talking about the actual other decks that make up. Where's my square? My imaginary square that make up the meta for the square.
I mean, I got nothing else to say about Red Broly. The deck's still amazing. Like, don't let this weekend's results fool anybody. Like, that deck is still the epitome of like what decks can reach, like the ceiling of the game right now. So I definitely think if anybody's giving up on the deck and like feels like they wasted their money in those TPs, don't feel that way. Just dive right back into your deck and like figure out what else you can do to adapt. Adapt, evolve, overcome.
I'm not gonna lie. If you feel that way, I'll literally swap you a Dark Broly deck for Red Broly, like hands down. If you think we're trolling, you could ask Legends. Like, we're playing in Swiss. Like I said, we're each other's only losses during the whole day. We're sitting there playing in top cut. The only person in top cut with Red Broly was Rios. Once Rios lost, we looked at each other and said, "Bro, we're not splitting," because like literally, it's gonna be between myself and him is gonna win the event. Once Red Broly was gone, we just looked at each other like this. We're not splitting the night, boys. We're just gonna play the entire night. It was literally that game. Red Broly, you don't understand. When Red Broly flies, it doesn't matter if you have main board hit against it. It's hard. I can't express it enough. It's hard to combat critical and hand destruction. That's the reason why when we're playing, we went all the way, bro. We were so excited. It was unfortunate you played in top 8. You were 100% still beat me, but at least it'd have been a nice final 2-0 versus a nice top 8 2-0, which is super, super unfortunate. But yeah. So let's get into these decks. So I know originally my boy Legends wanted to go to the top 2, but I'm not gonna lie. I've been looking at these leaders, and it's really hard to just do top 2 because the thing about Red Broly, once he's like just not there, a lot of leaders that do janky stuff that just couldn't survive when Red Broly's event come. It's not just 1 or 2. So I mean, we'll do our best to not list the entire actual card pool. But in my opinion, like I'm just looking at, let's say, red, right, or yellow, because red and yellow. So let's do yellow first. There's things like, okay, you're playing Mecha. That's obviously the meta one. So now your other choices are stuff like Whis. I think Whis is like a vanilla spam, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it is an incredible, like, just board advantage deck.
Exactly. And the one thing I would hurt it would be crit and sub. So now you have decks like Whis kicking in for yellow. So I'm looking at the yellow card pool right now. You would still have decks like Jiren that obviously you're not going to go away because they were in the meta when Red Broly, Dark Broly, and Mecha was there. So not really Mecha, but they were in the meta when Red Broly and Dark Broly. So I can see a list like Jiren still sneaking in. Yellow. Let me see what else yellow. What does yellow have?
Let's just try to keep it formal. How about we each pick 2 decks from each color, and we can talk about what they can apply to. We'll try not to overlap.
Okay. So I guess my 2 would be, if I were to pick, just looking at this, just from what I know. Like I said, guys, don't crucify. I'm going off games that I play tested personally that actually gave me the most problem, because there's a lot of yellow decks, but the ones that actually gave me issues when I play tested against them. See, this is tricky. I'll let you go first because I really like that new Frieza, the swap, the Frieza, but I never play tested against it. So I'll let you go first for yellow.
I'll go into it. I mean, everybody might hate on me for this, but I think Sin Shenron is now a rogue deck. I think that deck is amazing, and Set 12 has made it so much better. This is one of the few decks that can sell Xeno you on turn 2.
Yeah.
Like, that ability to kill you just straight up is incredible. Not to mention, this weekend when we saw Dylan Warren, piloted beautifully into the top cut, he didn't even have the TP promo. That's like a 1 energy triple strike, like Omega Shenron. That's just insane to me. So that's my first vote for like Yellow Rogue, and obviously it naturally has a good matchup in the Red Broly, so I think that's super positive. Of course, we have to talk about the fact that it's weak versus Dark Broly, right? And that's why I think it's seen less and less play. And then the other Yellow Rogue, if Red Broly wasn't in the format and I was a Yellow player, I love playing and testing with Garlic Jr. I think that deck can just do so much that the other decks cannot do. It's got a better Nimbus. It's got like if Dormant and Nimbus had a baby child, Energy Field is like the best thing I've ever read in the game. And against the first attack, and then they can only attack one more time for 0 energy. It's got 2 indestructible cards, like built-in removal. That deck is just beautiful to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The only yellow leader that actually plays as I'm not gonna put the other Frieza, but it would be the Golden Frieza because from my experience, when Mecha Frieza was around the first time, the deck that was really, really combating Mecha Frieza was Golden Frieza. I don't know if it's because maybe Golden Frieza had an edge on it because it also had it could do the same exact thing, minus actually have free energy to use or what it was. For some reason, my experience is literally those 2 things, but I wouldn't really pick any more yellow decks because then we would just be pushing it. But I could 100% see Drink sneaking in. The only reason why I can see Drink sneaking in is because I really, really, really love the fact that it can stall against decks that are not yellow itself. They don't have like a time magic or don't have a release from Evo. Jiren can literally stall. In my opinion, I don't think it's a main board worthy package, but it 100% could be a sideboard worthy package where you put in Path of Greatness into Height of Mastery. Because against Black, it's going to be GG. Because yes, you have the Brainwash Mass Saiyan, but you can't Brainwash Mass Saiyan when your energy is tapped, you see what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So that's the only reason why I would keep Jiren up there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Black, like if anything, like Black, Red, Green could pop it because Green has the Frieza, but no, the Frieza's an auto that pops, right? The counterplay plays in the auto pops it.
You can't pop Height. Height's an 8-drop, man.
Oh, it's an 8-drop. Oh, excuse me. So the only other thing is yellow. It pretty much stop it with like a freaking a time magic or something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's about it.
yeah.
I mean, if I remember correctly, like set 9, the only reason Jiren didn't move on was because
Piccolo
Rainbow Gohan.
And Piccolo
Rainbow Gohan punted it from like 5 to 2, and now Jiren got to use his backside of it once.
Yeah.
And that's why they couldn't play. But with like Rainbow Gohan like being edged out a little bit, short of like Jason Scott and Abno Robles, like sort of those like great players on that deck. I think Jiren can definitely make a strong comeback.
Yeah. That's one thing. That's one package that I don't think any deck can actually use like that, but Jiren, because Jiren can literally say, "I'm gonna play my guys for free, and while I'm playing them for free, they can still have the energy open for a negate. And if they really just want to do something crazy, they also have that extra card that gives the Jiren, the guy, I think critical it is like what 10k or something critical, so he can still apply pressure while drawing a card and getting a plus critical swing. And then worst case scenario, when you have your infinite barrier blockers, if your opponent's not running cooler, you're just in it clear because you're not going to leave the board anytime soon at all. Your opponent literally has to be running the red-blue coolers, or they have to be running an unexpected turn. But with that being said, they can also use their, I believe it's Activate Battle. Yeah, they can use Activate Battle on their turn. Don't forget, guys. Jiren players, you can use the Activate Battle on your turn. You don't have to wait to your opponent's turn to guarantee that, hey, no matter what, you cannot take battle damage from your next turn. And you just being able to have the package of Pat integrate and Height of Mastery is just ridiculously titty in my opinion. So that's the only yellow deck besides with Legends of Saint I'm really, really sold on. So let's go into the next one. All right, this one I'm really, really well versed about. It is Black. You want me to take this one first, or you want to take it first?
Yeah, you can take this one first.
All right, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. After playing this weekend, I don't think that matchup against Mecha Frieza is as bad as I thought. But like I said, I don't know. It's because the Mecha Frieza decks weren't really complete yet. But hindsight, looking at it, I think with Jax right now, if I would take it back, I did really, really well with it. I'm not saying I didn't as well with Dark Broly, but really, really well with it, right? But moving forward with Jax, I think it's in a good spot because if decks start main decking hate for things like Red Broly, Dark Broly, Mecha, but Jax flies under, right? Okay, check it out. For instance, Justin Rio is probably the best Red Broly player we have in the game currently. He was maining 4 Violent Rays. Exactly. That guy was, oh yeah, and Nuvo, I forgot he played it, but I want to give him credit because he's supposed to be playing with Jax with me. Forget Red Broly. but Jax is a fellow Jax player, bro. So you're maining 4 Violent Rays in Red Broly. If that deck list were to go against, it's just a go wide strategy against Jax, you guys have to understand how fast those Violent Rays would catch up to you, because now you're trying to fight an uphill battle, right? Violent Rays is nothing. So off rip, you have 4 dead cards in your hand. And the only way you can get rid of those dead cards is literally just to bottom deck it from your right, super combos. Now, not only do you have 4 dead cards in your hand, you also have a board state that's just extremely fragile, because once I said a million times in Vegeta, you're supposed to be playing the Secret Identity of Mass Saiyan at 4. That super clears your Red Broly matchup. So Vegeta, in my opinion, even though it's hard to put him here right now, because I really do feel like if it was not for Dark Broly, Vegeta would still have this slot. I think Vegeta is the next best thing under it. Now, when it comes to my next 2 slots, I'm kind of iffy. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I honestly think Bibity, with the whole Majin Buu pack and everything, has a chance. The one deck I did want to play test, I just still don't have a chance to do it, was the Son Goku and Vegeta, the actual Gogeta Unison. It's the opposite of Vegex. I really wanted to play test it because a lot of those pieces, if you look at it, it looks like if Invoker were to be black, in my opinion, it looks like it would be that Gogeta deck, right? Because if you read their pieces, each one of their pieces, it answers a certain aspect of the game, of the meta itself. Like, if you're playing against blue, you have the Vegeta that combats blue. If you're playing against counter-heavy decks, you have the Goku that plays counter-heavy decks. If you're going against Dark Broly, you have, I'm not too positive of the name, so I just quickly glance over it. You have a card that says if your opponent, I think, plays something that's higher than energy, it gains an attack boost. Like, each one of those guys that you have in that specific archetype do something that combats all these meta decks. I know a lot of people are sold on Shroom and Salsa. It's cute, but in my opinion, it's fragile. Like, I played against it a bunch of times. So without including Regex up there, including it in Rogues, I think Regex is still honestly tied with Dark Broly. Because if it wasn't for Mecha, I honestly think it would just be Regex. But Regex is tied with Dark Broly for that slot, with Regex maybe being slightly under it. But if I were to pick my 2 underlying black decks, it would be the Bibity, and it would be the Goku. And the reason why I say Bibity, because people are forgetting right now that this guy does the same thing Slug does, bro. You can't add cards, and not only that, you cannot remove this card from your opponent. Can't use skills to remove this guy. So Dark Broly can't just randomly warp him. See what I'm saying? So if you think Slug is a problem, I'm gonna display the original Slug. So that one I'm gonna leave it like that, and let Legends get into it. So.
Damn, bro. I mean, that's my only 2. Like, I mean, VJ's obviously great.
Yeah.
And Bibity was definitely gonna be my pick. Like,
Are you gonna say Bibity?
Yeah. I think it's got such a great matchup into Red Broly, and like it obviously it snuffs out some of the cards that Mecha Frieza has, and it just hits so fast before some decks can get there.
Oh my god, Legend, bro! I completely forgot Bibity absorbs most of the meta, bro. Like against Red can't even go against it. Like Launch Bulma, you just eat their card.
That's
bro, you literally eat their cards, dude. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
all these decks that have these engines that try to add from their deck beyond, like your leader maybe adds 1 card right every turn. So like all these other decks get screwed. I think that really is the sleeper black deck of the format.
Yeah.
And I agree with that Shroom and Salsa. Like I think people need to find out what they can do with that deck. Like Shroom has that like need of fabric to play Menki from the drop, right? But like that's all that deck has right now. And people are working on Toe, and I think that deck's a little too slow for what the format wants to do. So like you said, I think your 2 choices for black are the only 2 choices for black, in my opinion, that Rogue can play right now.
Yep, exactly. And an honorable mention, besides Ghost, is a tie between 2 guys. I know I'm kind of copping out because it's black, but with black guys, there's a lot of the unknown that I just want to put out there because I don't feel like playing against it. But for black, the unknowns that are make this like a tie between honorable mention goes to number 1, the boy Hatchak. Because if you think about this meta, the only deck that's not summoning multiple dudes a turn and try to go sideways at your face, it's what is it? It's 8 or higher or 7 or higher you can't swing with. Is it be 8 or higher? It's literally Invoker's the only guy. Everyone else is like, because Invoker doesn't care, but everything else is like, I'm gonna spam this. Even Dark Broly, I'm gonna spam this. If you think Violent Rays hurt, imagine a leader that has a permanent hate. Violent Rays, bro, because of course you're gonna tackle your 6-drop. Yes, it'll go through your negated, but that's it. That's literally it, bro. That's it. And then it goes to Kidku. And the only reason why I say to tie with Kidku is I will never doubt Kidku because of the whole Android 8 and the actual Goku's the way that shenanigans work, and the fact that Kidku's hand will always be fat. And in this game, when you have a big hand size, it's really, really hard. It doesn't care. Besides the exception of Green Broly, guys. That's the only deck I know in this game that can have such a wide hand. It doesn't really matter. It's like, bro, what are you doing with that hand? But when Kidku's able to have a ridiculous hands while still applying pressure with not free 30Ks, but you tapping 2 to bring out 30K hits, and the 30Ks from for literally 1 card literally becomes a 40K. That's insane to me, in my opinion. So I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line you see just 1 road Hatchak and 1 road Son Goku, the Kidku guy. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. But the 2 most popular ones that I'm just surprised people aren't on right now are Bibity. I don't know where the Bibity people are. I can tell you right now, I'm really looking at Vegex because I feel like we're at a point in the meta where people are really, really trying to just counterplay Dark Broly. And if you want to counterplay Dark Broly, you just reverse the roles, right? You just play with Jax. Because instead of going tall, you go wide. So stuff like that. Anything you want to say before we move on to green?
So, I mean, I think the Migro has definitely an honorable mention as well. That deck is like the age-old aggro, super aggro deck, right?
Black
like
Storm.
Awaken itself on turn 2 and just push your stuff. And so that's an honorable mention, but until somebody really figures out what to do with it, I think it's just going to stay in the shadows.
Yep. All right, so moving on to green. So green is an interesting list, right? Because the only thing that's green right now that's, I guess you would say, meta, I would have been classified as that, would be Gold Tanks. But Gold Tanks, in my opinion, if you were to put it in, the reason why I want to classify Gold Tanks as bad, I'm sorry guys, the green Gold Tank, is because if you look, everything guys, you have to refer to the square. If you look at the square, Red Broly, Dark Broly, and Mecha, they probably only have a decent Mecha matchup. Against Dark Broly and against Red Broly, it's non-existent, right? It's just a downhill battle that you're fighting from the start. So the only thing I would really put up there that just naturally combats in their main board would probably be, shout out to my boy Devin Butterworth, the Clash Coup. And the reason why I say Clash Coup is, I don't know why people, well, I think he was running it. I'm not sure. I haven't seen his past second, but I know for a fact he ran it last weekend. Why don't put just the feet Kamehameha in the Goku leader? Because once you have Krillin in there, it's a 20k double strike base, but with the feet, it goes to a 35 double case off rip. And that's not even including Cells Kamehameha or your super combos. That's a base attack that your opponents have to literally stop. And then one thing I do want to say, right along with Goku, is his son Gohan. I'm going to preach this multiple times. Just because he's banned for best of one does not mean the leader is dumb. Like, it's just not mean it's over, just none of that good stuff. If a leader is ban worthy for best of one, that's already telling you it steals games one. Not preaches today, it's gone. If it's still games one, you're literally at a downhill battle because number one, you didn't think it was gonna be in the meta because you're okay, cool, no one's gonna play it. So you do play, you lose game one, and you have to have specific cards for games 2 and 3 to stop it. Like really, really specific cards. And this is why I always preach mono green. Because those specific cards you do incorporate in your deck, you gotta pray to God or Dragon Ball gods, because I don't want to offend anyone. You have to pray to the Dragon Ball gods that your opponent's not playing mono green. Because if they are, they can literally just rip those cards from your hand. Because you could probably say, okay, cool, you're at 6 life, right? So they're swinging at you, they have their stuff, you're like, okay, cool, it's your second swing, you're going to say no negates, because if they untap, you're going to have that one negate in your hand. So, you say no negates, and they swing at you, they unlaunch at you. This is why I say mono green. All your super combos, in my opinion, should be your Android 18s, because your Android 18s will force your opponent to bottom deck stuff that they don't want. It's like, okay, cool, I have it all into a negate, so I'll bottom deck X, Y, and Z, but A, B, and C I need. So now once you get through all your Android 18s, then you start hitting with the Super Kamehameha, right? The reason why you hit it with the Super Kamehameha is because now those cards in your hands, you know those are the viable targets, and those most likely are going to be the negates they held on to. So, with that being said, once those negates get hit, and you just combine that with one feat, it's not going to be physically possible for you to just win, because they just stripped the only answer from your hand. So, I don't know. A lot of people sleep on Green Gohan, they laugh at it, but it's nothing to be laughed at. Like, these guys will literally come in and just wreck shop. Especially since you're already stealing game one off rip. For my, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to really think about it, like, to be frank here, I just don't think green is meta right now. Like, green at the start of set 11 saw some of the best cards this game has ever seen in Dormant Potential Unleashed and the charismatic villain Frieza, right? And it's just become so obvious how to play around these cards. Dormant Potential Unleashed, you can just slam double strikes into it. It doesn't even negate the first attack. So now they have to out-combo the first double strike, and then you double strike again, and now Dormant Potential Unleashed might as well not have been used.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everybody knows to play around charismatic villain Frieza at this point. So, like, green has lost its surprise factor. And then afterwards, the color itself is too fair. Everything that's not Reboot Gohan is too fair of a color in green. So, like, short of Reboot Gohan being meta, I would even go as far to say Gotenks is a good rogue attempt at this meta for this color. And then, like, we know Marcel piloted Turles brilliantly this weekend. But I don't think it's enough to say that deck is meta yet. I don't think there's enough research available for that deck. There's not enough results available for that deck. So Turles obviously is the other big choice, but the choice I want to bring up like bring into the light that people might or might not be working on is that OG Green Broly that just got boosted by that new field spell that's on release.
Yeah.
Percent 12. I think that deck is really cool. It can play.
Do you honestly like it?
I really do think it's cool. I think it's incredibly consistent. Its opener has 7 to 8 copies of its openers in this deck, which is unbelievable for any deck. Right? Like the only other deck that does that in this game is Red Broly. You can have like 8 copies of its opener, right? So like that's really cool to begin with. And then like it does what it needs to do consistently. Like you can play a Unison on 1, which opens up your Dorm Potential, opens up your Frieza, and you know what you're gonna do on 2, and you know what you're gonna do on 3, right? So like if its game plan goes forward, it's good. Obviously, the big problem with it is it gets uber checked by Red Broly. Like uber checked.
So what is the actual game plan of Green Broly? Every time I play against it, I don't know because I play aggro decks, wherever it is, they have a unit. It's just like you said, but it seems to me that they're just drawing a bunch of cards. And I assume my 30Ks and those bunch of cards just get comboed away, and it's like, well, I guess you're just drawing cards just to combo them away. What's the game plan for Green Broly?
It's supposed to, it's like it's turn 1, it's supposed to slam that Demigra Unison, right? Attack with its leader, and then discard that combo off that like ISR that says when this card is discarded,
Yep.
play the field spell.
You'll play the field spell, yeah.
Yeah, and then now you can take 2 of your own life, and now with the Demigra life, you have Charismatic Villain, making your opponent's turn really tricky to play around, right? Then turn 2, you can slam a couple draw cards on the field, or you can start chopping away your opponent's hand. It can have access to stuff like River Ant or Roshi to replay some of these defensive spells. And then on turn 3, it slams that giant 6-drop that like takes away 2 cards from your opponent's hand and has a double strike. And the entire time, your leader is taking cards out of your opponent's hand too. So it's supposed to be this mixture of like tall dudes plus hand control to go in for that kill. I think it has a really good matchup into stuff like Mecha Frieza. And I think it's going to struggle mainly because of Red Broly and Dark Broly.
All right. So before I'm gonna lie, those two green leaders that I mentioned, in my opinion, those were the 2 leaders I would pick if I were to say there's some kind of green meta. But for me, the 2 rogue guys, I've been on this for a long. I try to get Jonathan to come back and just sit there and talk to me like, let's break this deck. Is not the OG, but the second OG. I mean, I guess the OG Broly BR, right? The green OG Broly BR. Not Broly, but the actual Broly BR. Like Sparking 6 or Sparking, I think Sparking 6 or 7, you draw 6. That one.
7, yeah.
The only issue that I'm having playing it is the fact that Mecha Cabrera is a thing. But the way I would use to combat it, the reason why it becomes an issue is it's an issue because obviously you have to pick one chain or other. But now it forces you to play a chain. I honestly like what Jonathan had. I just think he gave up on the deck way too early. Because that crit line, it eliminates a lot. When I say a lot, it eliminates a lot of these upcoming decks and these past decks. Like you just smacking for a 20k crit and a 30k crit while having, it's like kind of like Red Broly, right? Because you have some element of hand destruction with the, it's not as good obviously, but you have some element of it with the burst. Because now instead of just doing it when they're swapping guys, if I attack, I get to do it, and if they attack, they get to do it. So realistically, every turn, if you look at it like that, you're discarding a card. And with that, I would play probably the Android 18 Super Combo. The reason why I'd play that is because I don't really care about my hand size, because once I attack with my leader, I know I'm drawing 6. But the biggest thing is, because we all know how green is just green, and the reason why green is a thing, in my opinion, is because of the 1-drop Demigra. You being able to display that is insane, because in decks that'll go wide or that'll go aggro on you, that just chomp away, you have that 1-drop Demigra. So realistically, that'll be your awakening factor. You let them awaken it, you just ignore your chain, and from that, after you bypass that, you would drop your Frieza Charismatics, and then you would go on from your Frieza Charismatic into your Zamasu, the one that when you attack, you just control the hand. So it'd be a never-ending loop. No matter what it is, it'd be hard for you to get locked, especially if they try to go the Mecha Cabrera route. So I really do like the Green Broly. Matter of fact, damn, I want to play with Jex this weekend, but I honestly now just want to test Green Broly tomorrow and play it. And the Vegeta and Bibbidi. The Vegeta and Bibbidi, in my opinion, I just think someone's not doing it right. Because I think that leader's insane. Violent Rays just hurt this deck. But I still think the leader's insane. Because when it goes off, you can literally, turn 2, turn 3, hit the Broly Secret Rare, have 1 life in his white rare hand, and kill him for a quad strike guy. It's really insane. But with that one, I would have to look at it, because I honestly don't know what's holding the Vegeta Bibbidi from just taking over a lot of stuff. You know what it is? Have you? I don't think I even.
Yeah, I do. I think the deck is a little too linear. Like you know what the deck is going to do turn 1, 2, and 3 is the opponent's hitting gap from the right, and it doesn't really have the opportunity to veer away from that game plan. Which, like, and you can say the same thing about Red Broly, right? Like, oh yeah, I know exactly what Red Broly is going to do, but like nothing that Red Broly does is going to be fair because it's going to crit you and take away your hand.
Yeah, that's
like,
the biggest thing.
All of it's going to your hand, so you have a chance to recover the whole time.
Yeah, that might be it. Because I was looking at it, I'm like, why isn't Vegeta and Bibby doing good? But it does make sense because if you look at an aspect, they're giving you cards that you could literally answer them back with. So it's kind of unfortunate for that. But 100%, I'm not gonna lie. I was talking to Legends earlier about running Projects this weekend if I played, but I might have to. Actually, I don't have Dormants, man. Damn it. Never mind. Unless I get to borrow them, I don't have Dormants. Because I'm saying the green Broly, it's a reverse thing of red Broly where it actually has hand advantage because you'll be able to draw 6 with you being able to lock your opponent. And the thing about it, like I said, I wish Jonathan would sit there and tell me his thoughts about it so I could just dissect it from there and then go on and rebuild it, would be the fact that I would have 2 chains, and then after game 1, I would take 1 chain out, and whatever chain was the weakest, I would put in the Zamasu package, because I'll take that out pretty much, and the charismatic against the Zamasu, and you're just going from there. So I really, really would like to play with that. And we're not going to count the cell, because that's a multicolor, so we'll get that later, because it's obviously a great thing. Now, everyone's favorite color. I don't know why, but it is. It's blue. I do not know why, but it is blue. So, you want to start this one or you want me to start it?
I'll start it. Blue is my color, man.
Yeah.
This is my baby. Blue is the best color because it lets both you and your opponent play the game, right? So, the problem with blue right now is that it dies too early. I'm still here. I thought my AirPods died. The problem with blue right now is that it dies to red Broly way too hard. Like, it just does not have actual removal built into the deck, and it doesn't actually have early game answers to many of the decks that are playing right now. Right? And when I say many of the decks that are playing right now, I strictly mean red Broly. Like, blue can't deal with, like, crit and then trying to recover with nothing.
Yeah.
So, if I had to name 2 blue decks that could play in this format, you know I'm going to go with Trunks first. I think that deck is built to beat red Broly. Like, it can't get crit, as everybody knows. And then it also has, like, the trigger cards from life, which now that Bandai has made it possible, you can trigger cards from life to actually make it so that if aggro is hitting it, it has a good counter punch, right? And also, like, right next to Trunks' future, I think the other blue deck that people are just sleeping on, I don't know why they stopped playing, is Blue Baby. I know people are scared of that Silver Bullet, but I think Blue Baby is just a nutty deck. Yeah. Being able to play stuff like Possible for 1 energy.
It's an Invoker, that's not Surge, dude.
Yeah, it is. And then you can play stuff like Heroic Prospect for 2 energy without a unison. Like, that's just nutty to me. And speaking of which, like, people that are afraid to play blue right now, like, I implore you to take another look at the color. Stuff like Heroic Prospects makes the Dark Broly matchup really favorable for you. It makes the Mecha matchup a little more favorable for you. Like, we all know God Sealing is insane. We know Golden Baby Avenger is insane. So all we have to do is solve the red Broly matchup to play in this format as blue.
Yeah, so for that, yeah, like Legend says, I think that's the top of the line for blue. Just we're not doing Surge, we're using regular colors, right? We'll do Surge afterwards. The top, I guess, it for blue, in my opinion, like you said, it would be Trunks and Baby. If I were to pick 2 underliers that people are really, really sleeping on, number 1, I don't know why people haven't, the fans, I know this deck had a lot of fans when it first came out, and that deck is Janemba. You guys realize, with Jax out of the way, you're able to mill your opponents out now. It's literally the stall strategy. It's back. The only issue if Jax was out, you couldn't stall, because it's like, okay, cool. If you stalled, you're just gonna, the opponent's gonna shuffle back in. It's gonna be only a matter of time before you lose, especially when Spencer and Mine was there just driving you crazy. But going against Red Broly, yeah, you're gonna get clapped. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a quick clap too. He's gonna be like this and just clap. It's over. But going against everything else, it's like, bro, where are you gonna lose? I don't know. How do you feel about Blue Janemba?
I think Blue Janemba is such a cool package. I think it goes into any blue leader and or leader that isn't the new Janemba leader, ironically. Like, I think it fits so well into like Kid Q. I think it fits really well into like the old Shenron leader. I think it fits well into like Soul Striker. It's such like an efficient package, but my problem with it is it's trying to do what Red Broly does, just a little less efficient, a little less consistent. And to me, that's just not good enough.
Okay, I was getting your thoughts on that, but I see you're talking about the blue Janemba, the new stuff. I'm talking about the actual, the OG, I'm a million you out Janemba strategy.
Snap.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the OG, I'm a million you out strategy. You gotta think about it. In my opinion, it hibernated because the format was reject where it says you can't mill me out. You're just gonna get clapped instead. But now with these decks, they're not really trying to. Especially the only issue I have with Blue Janemba is the fact that you can't run things like what's his face, the God Sealing. That's the only issue I have with it. And I'm like, that kind of sucks. But you still have all the other variants with the blue green, the blue yellow green, all that stuff where you just literally stalled. It's still there. And now you've even got an addition, in my opinion, because you should be playing. Even if you're playing mono blue, you should be playing the Zamasu super combo, which now gives you access to Goku hit. So you having that, you're not really trying to kill your opponent. The only thing you're trying to kill is that deck, and that's it. And realistically speaking, I'm not promoting this, but you guys have to be realistic, right, about the deck. If the deck can stall you, and you know your opponent's not going to have main deck answers to this, by the time your game one's over, you'll probably have X amount of time to play games 2 and 3. If you keep doing the same strategy, you'll win off the fault because you won game 1. You see what I'm saying? I'm not promoting to slow play, but it's the deck itself. If the deck is naturally just stalling the game and just taking your opponent out, there's only so much your opponent can do to answer it. You see what I'm saying? So, what are your thoughts on that one, Legends?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think that leader needs a new errata to get rid of that whole like this leader can't play 5 drops or higher thing. I think that alone just ruins
that should have got rebooted. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like if they reboot that, and I think that leader would be a powerhouse.
Yeah.
But right now, just all the best cards in the game, blue, even blue stuff, just goes above that threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to slash these bad colors in, like just to play stuff like Topo or like that Piccolo cutting strategist, stuff like that. And that just slows the deck down, especially in a format like this.
Yeah. In my opinion, another thing that makes this deck insane is that the leader does not have to attack a leader. Like, you can literally just keep swinging to your opponent's unison and making them mill. So you're denying them an advantage. Really, if their opponent has no way to get their own life, you're denying them an advantage while you're just... If your opponent has no self-awakening, period, you're just going to lose the game. You keep swinging on unison, you keep swinging on unison, you keep milling 2, you keep milling 10, it's going to go downhill from there. So that is a sleeper in my opinion. And one deck I do want to put out there, I know we said it was Trunks and Blue Baby, but I also feel like Fuse Zamasu should be a top contender. I wouldn't put it on the same level. I'm not gonna lie, because the thing with Fuse Zamasu is that instant board removal and you having access to Zamasu, not Zamasu, the Zeno Unison is wild to me. It may be unexplored. I know there's a few players that are on this deck. I'm not too sure their builds, but I really feel like Fuse Zamasu is really, really slept on, man. Because the thing about Blue, right? Yes, they struggle to, obviously, all these decks we're talking about struggle to Red Broly. Yes, they struggle to something that's super, super crazy, but with your Zeno Unison, you have things to hear a prospect on going on what, your turn 2, your turn 3. You can start locking your opponent out. You have things to D-Magic. Those Silver Bullets that just now came out, they don't have barrier. They only have deflect. If you're using the old school ones, worst case scenario, they have multiple on board. You can just neck 5 your Zeno because your Zeno is never going to die. Your Zeno adds 2 markers each and every single time. To me, I don't know. I think Fuse Zamasu can lead it for the blue leaders, but people just aren't playing it right now. I don't know. What do you think about Fuse Zamasu?
I think there's a neat interaction that people just haven't explored this format, and Fuse Zamasu is one of the decks that can abuse it since it plays Zeno on 2. I think people are forgetting how like the interaction between intersecting fates and Zeno would work. If you play Zeno on 2 and then you intersecting fates later with that extra energy, now you can untap one of your real energy at the end of the turn and hold up heroic prospects. I think that interaction is the best interaction. That's what's going to put it back in the format. And the moment people start trying that in stuff like Fuse and Master, or even that new Pikahoon deck, I think they're just going to realize that Blue is playable again.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just want to put out there, because I think Fuse and Monster is probably the most slept on blue leader ever since, I think, set 12 came out. Because when set 11 came out, it was all Vejex. Fuse and Monster literally annihilated Vejex willpower. And it was like crazy to think about it, because like, wow, blue is just, I don't know, it was just the bane of my existence back then, especially when Jonathan was playing it. But ever since then, it just kind of went to the wayside, which is super, super unfortunate. So now,
yeah, I think it's broken.
Yeah. So now we say the best for last, right? We have red. There's no way, at least in my opinion, I don't know what Legend's gonna say. I can keep this to like two because realistically, the top of the class, like if you're going to S plus ranking, would be Red Broly. But then right below Red Broly, there's a bunch of red. Like when I see a bunch of on, you have a bunch. Like yeah, I'm not gonna go into detail with you. You have Launch, you have Bulma, Legends I was talking about earlier. You have the red Vegeta deck and King Piccolo, which is completely insane. You have another deck I'm looking to explore, the set six Goku and Vegeta. Because with that, you have to understand, you being able to go wide and then from nowhere from going wide to just going tall is insane. That's something I want to touch on later because I'm not sure if I want to just put that out there yet. And you have things like I don't know. I just like the red green Piccolo. I love it in Vegeta Baby versus all other red decks. Only because Vegeta Baby has actual answers to the floodgates that you could actually put in. So, how do you feel about red right now with the underwriters?
I think this is the most exciting time for Red in the
Yeah.
history of Dragon Ball right now. Right? Like, if obviously it's being overshadowed, grossly overshadowed by like the monstrosity that is Red Broly, and we're gonna keep saying that all throughout the night. But like, if you just avoid that deck in Red, like you have all these other incredible decks, and now Red finally has a card pool to play from, right? Like just this Gogeta engine, like you were talking about, that's splashable in these decks like Bulma or that old Gogeta leader, or even the new Gogeta leader, creating such like an impenetrable wall once you get it down in the field. It boosts your unison up, and now you got these amazing red unisons that can play, and all your red cards like push their counters up by a billion. So I think red definitely is like one of those things that I would love to see people experiment with. Even Pan has like a play in
Yeah.
this meta right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's completely insane. I'm not gonna lie. And even hit, we saw it get second place the other time at not the past PPG, but two PPGs ago. It got second place, bro. So it's I don't know. Red, if you like red, bro, this is the time to be alive. I'll tell you that right now, man. Like looking at it, you guys have a lot of options. My dog Robert Reese with his peel off. When I say a lot of options, you guys have a lot of options. Like I'm not even exaggerating. I'm just
Yeah, and I think that's one of like the sad things about Dragon Ball right now is that like our community is so small, and yet the potential for creativity is so large in this game.
yeah.
Like we have just most of the community flocks to what I mean, a couple teams say are the best decks, right? But like if you just took some of the best deck builders out there and they just experimented and had the time, like an infinite time to experiment with all these other leaders, I think we would see like 10 leader wide meta.
This is facts. So let me go to DBS decks for this one because Shinron's Lair has like it's weird using multicolor. Alright, so DBS decks will do multicolor leaders. Obviously on top of the class it's oh there's not that many. Wow. There's only 6. I thought it was more for some reason.
There's only 6.
Wow.
I mean, there's only 6. Let's be real.
That's insane. There's only 6. So yeah, I mean I think it'd be an obvious ranking. But if you guys wanted to shake up the ranking and to start a petition for Bandai to let Piccolo at least draw when he attacks on his unawakened side, I think there would be a shake up there. But yeah, but Piccolo died a miserable death, man. That was not fair at all. Obviously, it's Invoker is number 1. Then you have Cell kicking in because Cell has those weird, unique interactions that people. I honestly think people just get caught off guard and people don't know what it does. And by the time they don't know what it does, it's already game over. And then
I also think Cell's leader effect is like the best leader effect in the game. Like look at the top 5 at any
that's insane, dude. Like you don't have to reveal it to your opponent, dude. That's like what would you just add? You'll see, bro. You'll see. That's insane. And in my opinion, you have 2 of the best control colors in yellow and what's his face, yellow and green. You get the hand control aspect, and you have the freaking just hey, Nimbus, yo, Johnny here, what? All that good stuff. Ugh.
Yeah, I think the multicolor card leader that's slept on, and I think if more people worked on it, it would easily become the tier 1 deck. Is the green red Broly VR leader.
I told Robert Ricci that for the longest. He was playing it. Tell him like, bro, you don't understand. Playing that specific leader is telling your opponent that you can only kill them with the battle with a leader card or unison. So you having access to that is just insane. The only issue is I believe the key green cards you have to have a mono green leader, which is unfortunate. So
Yeah.
I think.
I think it's tough. I think
Go ahead.
there's a control version where you like tap mono green turn one, slam down Demigra and just full transmitting villains, and
Yeah.
then start playing red green afterwards. I haven't really looked at the deck on my own because the cards for the deck are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Arguably, like Zamasus are expensive
Yeah,
and stuff
they
like
are.
that. So like, but that deck, I think that leader is definitely a sleeper.
The thing I really am surprised about is I'm not sure if it's in his past set Vermilion Bloodline or was it in the one before that. These are or draft balls. These are a red green Goku that literally control the battle step. I'm like, wait a minute. Now technically you have 3 battle cards that control the battle step because you have the red green Goku that can. Damn, what's it? I want to say it's a draft box. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you have that one, and you had the 4 and 6 drop Broly's, or the 4. I forgot the rank of them, but one was a rival for 1, and the other one was a rival for 2. You had both of those, so you have 3 enablers that just control the battle step here, which was completely insane in my opinion. But it just never had a showing, especially when you couple that with the fact that once again, the only way you'll literally die is if your opponent has to, besides burn damage, of course, has to literally take your last life through an attack with a leader card or a unison card. It was really, really powerful. But for some reason, we did not see that.
Another problem with that deck right now, it's ironically, I don't think Red Broly is the problem with that deck. I think Dark Broly is the problem for that deck. Like, you can't develop any of these combat controllers.
Yeah, not at all. No.
On the field, and then Dark Broly just removed.
That would be free, yeah. Yeah.
That becomes the main issue with the deck.
Yeah.
But I think as players find more ways with that deck, like maybe you can tech in like main deck big armors, and when you go in for the kill, you rival these combat controllers, and now Dark Broly just can't do it. Actually, it doesn't even matter because Dark Broly uses their leader.
Yeah, their leader effect. Nah, it's not a winning. I don't think it's. I think this might be the first deck that's like literally a 0 win rate against a deck, bro. Like your leader does nothing. None of your battle cards do anything against that deck. It's bro. Sign that master, please.
Yeah, but as for the other, like, I do think Surge Coup, the OG red yellow Surge Coup, has some potential. Like, I don't even think that nerf to the backside of that leader was so large that it's unplayable.
Yeah.
I think people just got like they got kind of hurt from that nerf and they walked away from it. But that leader is playing some of the best colors in the game.
Yep,
Being
yep,
red
yep.
yellow, it has some of the best filter in the game. Like, it's even its backside is still one of the most amazing things I've ever read. So I think that leader definitely can use some experimentation there.
Yeah, the other reason I was playtesting with that deck, the reason why I liked it a lot, my version I played red, yellow, blue, and the blue I played was the red, blue multicolors. And I was just spamming out coolers for free, B. I'm like, bro, you're about to get clapped. Because you had that, and there's a Piccolo, it's like, deflect barrier. Let me see what it is. It's when all this stuff first got announced. It was fun to play with, but then I stumbled across Dark Broly, and I just never looked back. But that yellow, red, Surge School leader, it's pretty solid still. The only one I'd say is unplayable would probably be Piccolo, because even this Kefla, if you like looking at it, one day whenever they print more U6 cards out, any broken U6 card, this leader would instantly sell out. Like it'd just be busted. The only thing, that can't be fixed in my opinion within all these Surge leaders is just Piccolo, bro. You just looking at the top of your deck of your card and doing that. If that was an errata, I've been fine. But at least when a leader attacks, at least a leader or something let it draw a card. You're not being able to draw a card on your front side. It's just completely negative.
That's all.
That was neutered. Be like, oh my goodness. I would have took it. If you force me to attack in order to draw, I'd take the L. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool, that's fine. Look at the top deck, whatever it is. But I'll take the L. I have to attack. So you get a card, I get a card. That's fine. But not being with that, it's just bad. Like it feels bad, looks bad, sounds like. I'm not even gonna talk about it no more. It's just bad.
It just goes against the core of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to charge an energy every turn. So if you can't draw on attack like a second time on your turn outside of your draw
That is
step,
horrible.
you're just gonna run out of cards.
Yeah.
And I think that makes that leader just like the second worst leader in the game now.
Yep. Period. I ain't gonna lie. All right, so let's catch up on these questions because I think we hit all the colors. Let me see what questions do you guys have. I think the overall the Migra leader is slept on right now. Yeah, let's just talk about that. It is like I guess the OG Black Storm that the Migra leader. It says Eddie, what's the best Janemba build right now? I'm not gonna lie. Legends hit it on the nail on the hammer, or the hammer on the nail, where he said it's like Red Broly, but you're working too hard. If you want to play that deck, just play Red Broly, in my opinion. Now, if you're referring to the mill-based strategy, I honestly feel like, I mean, I know you say mill is boo-boo, but I honestly implore someone who is really, really good at the deck to play it. Because you gotta think about it, right? not including Red Broly, what deck can absolutely just kill Janemba? Because Janemba's hand was always big, and if issue with Janemba was like Invoker, where I mean Invoker would probably kill that deck too, just burn damage. But then it's literally like Invoker, where their hand is fat and none of your attacks will go through. So you have to think about that aspect. What just attacks you and says you can't negate, you can't use, and like no matter what I do, your attack is gonna nothing. Especially with Janemba, because worst case scenario, if you use anything like that, they'll just clear it. I don't know. Like I think there's something to it. And the only reason why I'm making this reference is literally go and look how Legends did with Invoker. If you're able to stall out a game and have an alternate win con that's unanswerable, it's gonna be really difficult, especially where the only answer was rejects back in the day. So right now I think the only answer to Janemba is rejects and what Red Broly. Everything, if you hit Janemba with it, it's not gonna be critical. So realistically you're arming them with the stuff they're gonna use to stall you out. And all they have to do is your leader mills too. Get a battle card, because you're forgetting the battle cards have deflect, so it's not like you could interact with your battle cards. And once their battle cards are on board, they don't even have to attack with it, because they could just, okay, cool, bottom deck it, mill 2, mill 3, I don't know, man. I think Janemba, it's still there. It's one of those alternate win cons where it's like, okay, if you get someone who knows how to just stall you, you're just gonna win. They can't interact with milling out, period. Point blank, period.
Yeah, actually, somebody made a comment about like gatekeeping November, and I think that's a subject we should move on into. Is like how do build looking into this meta right now and talking about like gatekeeping. Right? Like we talked about Red Roller being such a big gatekeeper in this format, preventing all these growth matches. Right? But so I guess what we should what I'd like to talk about is like how you can build your decks to deal with this triangle. Like what should you be focusing your deck building choices towards?
Yeah. Oh yes, that's a perfect comment by DH. I'm not gonna try to pronounce your last one, but my boy DH, he said it perfectly. He said, "You see how a Red Broly is the gatekeeper for Invoker and all these other rogue decks? Rejex was the gatekeeper for Milnemba. Like literally, once Rejex left, it's like I honestly wouldn't be surprised if not just in top cut, but I actually ended up winning the event." Because you being able to have alternate win cons in this game is huge, especially like I can't stress the importance of uninteractable alternate win cons. You cannot interact. Like there's no deck in this game besides Rejects just naturally puts those cards back in your. I mean, I guess Sync Shinron, but it does like one or two at a time. I'm talking about your entire deck. Like no deck just says, "Okay, cool, you got me. Try again next time, B." So I'm not gonna lie. I honestly would not be surprised. Not just like all these decks we could see in Top Cut, but honestly, if you told me in mill number 1, I'd be like, yeah, no one plays Rejects no more. Like especially if no one's playing Rejects and no one's in Top Cut with Invoker or Red Broly, it's like, okay, what do you expect? Everything that swings at you, besides Dark Broly, is going to be tall. If they actually have negates, they can still play Heroic Prospect. It's still a thing. They just can't play the Alright, they can't play the Unity. They just can't play God Sealing. So, realistically, I would not be surprised if Janemba went really far up to a win.
But talking about the OG build deck, what about the new G build deck, right? What about that cooler? I don't think that deck's super.
The which one? The cooler mill? The Trey Fairclaw?
Yeah.
Oh man.
That deck is so cool. I mean, nothing against Trey. I don't think that's the build I would play in this, but I think that deck is just some hidden potential in it. Like red cards are good now in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of red cards abuse power, and this cooler can abuse it. Like just like that Gogeta package we talked about.
Yeah.
Like, that can be slapped in a cooler, and every time that Gogeta next 20 something, cooler's hitting you in the middle, and drawing a card. That's just
I remember telling Trey that way. He didn't like it. I'm like, listen, the only card you should play, in my opinion, with that would be it'd be the Gogeta, and it'd be the USEP, the one that gives everything bare. I'm like, bro, you just protect that bad boy, and they won't do nothing. You just keep milling. The thing with red, right? I don't think they have any like hardcore negates. Like you would have after image. I mean, oh yeah, you do have bonding rays, so maybe something is there. But I still like I don't know. I just like the actual Janemba mill, period. Because Janemba, you don't have to have anything. You just turn your leader sideways, and nothing stops your leader from turning sideways. And then the reason why I really like that leader is all these decks nowadays, they filter to their decks. So realistically, you have to mill, get what, 5 attacks max with your leader. Because by the time you get to turn 3 and turn 4, or turn 3 and turn 4, you can have your other Janemba guys that mill your opponent 2, you mill your opponent 3. So with that being said, I don't know. Because think about it, right? Against Bulma, what are you going to do? Just not use your leader ability? Okay, you're just going to lose. Against Bro, you think I'm trolling? Against Mega Frieza, they use Yuna Assemble. They don't have hey, I'm just gonna kill you straight up card. You're not gonna get to sell Xeno by turn 5 by 10. That doesn't mean you use Yuna Assemble to draw your card. You attack, you draw a card. You see how you drawing 3 on your opponent's turn. He swings with Janemba. That's 5 now because he just milled you 2. On your turn, you use another Yuna, or if you use Yuna Assemble on their turn, you drew 2 more. Like, those numbers add up. The turtles you keep getting, all that stuff just adds up, dude. Like, Janemba's like, keep filtering. Let me help you out and just go. Don't forget, the leader is guaranteed to do it, and pretty much the battle cards is too, because the battle cards have deflect. That's not even mentioning if they play a field spot that gives them barrier. So now it's uninteractable, where you may not lose by life, but you turn to lose 100% off damage, because there's nothing you can do to stop. Not damage, off milling, because there's nothing you can do to stop it. So that's my logic behind Janemba.
Yeah, for sure.
We have, all the suitor comps. I'm telling you, dude. Like, it's gonna be the thing about Blue too, right? It's like, okay, let's say somehow, I don't know, the worst case scenario, they have those things that make you pitch cards around. Janemba's hand is, I don't think you'll understand how big the hand gets, especially the super combos. And it's not even like they're tapped out, because if they're tapped out, they could just D-magic, and all those things become live. Since it's a lot of shenanigans. And the thing about the silver bullets and everything like that, 100% people are main decking those things. And I just told you with Janemba, I'm not promoting, because I don't want to see memes of me saying I'm promoting to stall. But if you play Janemba correctly, you can get it to the point where by the turn you're going to mill your opponent out, there's not that much time to complete a game 2, and it's 100% going to go to game 3. So at worst case scenario, you get a tie. At worst case scenario, only because you control them to the aspect where you're denying them cards from their life by only attacking their unison or only attacking their battle cards. The only way for them to prevent that is by not playing anything. So if they don't play anything, it's like, okay, cool. You keep doing what you got to do, and the game's never going to end. So I'm telling you guys, it's just, you got to use your brain when you play that deck. Like I said, I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to just have a field full of Janemba, and it's like, well, damn. Now we have Invoker and Janemba. The 2 decks we're just sitting and praying that somehow we just get through. So I'm telling you guys, uninteractable win cons they're not fun to play against, bro. Like, because you know in the back of your mind, it's like, this guy has to misplay. And if they don't if they do misplay, it's like, bro, there has to be like a serious misplay where you could clap each and every single one of their lives away in that instant, like in that heartbeat. So we'll see how that goes off. And I think the last question we have is, although I'd rather not see playing tons of number installers would be, yeah, I wouldn't like to see it, but I gotta tell you guys facts. Like, I would not sleep on Janemba anymore. People are slept on Vegex, and Vegex is like trickling to 0 to be nowhere. I would be surprised if, and not only that, Red Broly's gone too. Janemba's like, what? No Vegex, no Red Broly. Like, what more can a Janemba fan ask for? So, yep, sir. Let me see. Is there any more questions in here that you see, or any things you want to touch on?
Yeah, not much. Definitely just want to put it out there that, like, the meta, like, we just landed in set 12. So, like, I know everybody's always talking about the triangle meta, like the Red Broly, Dark Broly, Mega Frieza, but I definitely want to encourage players.
Now it's a square like this.
Yeah, I definitely want to encourage players to, like, try out leaders you really think, like, you would do well with, and I do think experience in the end will top out, like, whatever the meta choice might be. So just find your niche, find a way to beat what you think the meta is, and then I'm sure you'll succeed.
Yep. Facts. Last question: is the process of becoming? So yeah, with the becoming a member, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how to say this without putting people's business out. But at the end of every, like, season-ending events, that's when we'll do our schedule changes. It's not really, I don't really care about tops and wins and all that good stuff. It's about, like, what you bring to the team, like, right? How can you help the community, essentially? And are you good standing with the community? Like, do you obviously you shit talk, you're not in. Like, those people who did shit talk and now are on the team, you can see they keep that at the minimum now, and that's for a reason. I'm not gonna lie, being on the team, though, does restrict a lot of your freedoms. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, you ask my guys, they hate me for it, but you can't just go randomly say, hey, guy, you just suck, or, like, go kill yourself. Like, none of that good stuff, you're not able to say that no more. So you do have a lot of freedom, but there's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of them advantages to being on the team, if that makes sense. But if you're interested in joining, and we do have the initiative thing where you get to join us, you get a shirt mat. I don't think I have any more hats. Hats are sold out. There's that whole video out with the player initiative. So if you want to maybe join an initiative club, I know both our initiative players are on fire right now. We have Nick Larson, who won the Team Wars with Blue Baby, and we have Charles Hoffman, who got his invite using Dark Broly. And he pretty much had me side by side. Like, okay, I was looking at his Dark Broly list. I was telling him, no, take out the niggers out. And he always puts them back in. I hope you're watching this, Charles. Stop putting the niggers in your Dark Broly main board. He takes them out and he does well with it. So, last question: are you gonna try Vegeta in the next webcam event to prove people wrong? I'm not gonna lie. I do. Like, I went to locals last night because I didn't realize I didn't have a lot of the cards. But I went to locals last night and literally, it's right here. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's the front of my deck is the entire Vegeta. Let me take it off. Oh no, deleter. Yeah, I have the entire Vegeta deck like on me, looking at it. I want to play it. My issue is, I don't know, man. I want to play Vegeta this weekend. I really do. Number one, I have to find the time to play this weekend, and number two, I have to find the time to play test it for this weekend. I don't like just going to an event and just play. Cause if you do that, that's when stuff just hits the side of. And if I do that, I don't know. I don't want to let you guys down. Because if I just go and scroll with Vegeta, you guys are going to think it's bad. And it's going to be like, nah, fam. So, if I somehow find time to playtest tomorrow, because I'm already buying the game, I like to playtest weeks and days in advance. I do it. But yes, I do really want to play Vegeta. If not Vegeta, I want to play the red set 6 Gogeta. Because I feel like just going wide is the strategy now versus going tall because everyone's maining Violent Rays and everything. So you just got to counter pick them, right? And that's one of the biggest reasons why I want to pick Vegeta. Because if you run 3 to 4 Violent Rays and I'm playing Vegeta, you just run 3 or 4 dead cards in your hand for no reason. So, yep. Man. I think we got anything. Any closing comments you want to say, ladies?
No, I do nothing else. I just definitely always encourage people to play the game. Enjoy the game you want to enjoy, right? And don't let people discourage you. Don't let this meta or whatever, or like how you view competitive play discourage you from playing what you want to play. That's kind of the message I wanted to push today.
Yeah, he's speaking from facts, bro. People said Invoker sucked. I literally got stopped preaching Invoker. And the funny story is, I think we're the one who invented that whole pilot talk because people kept saying Invoker is bad, Invoker is this. X amount of players went and played Invoker. I remember there was an event in VA where there was I believe 3 to 4 Invoker decks there, and it was 0 for Jax there. Zero. This is set 11. There was 0 for Jax decks there, and Invoker did not win. It didn't even top cut. I looked at it, and I'm like, bro, the pilots just didn't know how to play the deck. And from that day forward, everyone just takes this whole pilot talk and runs with it. Please stop saying that. That's like the most cop-out answer people could say. I really meant it just for Invoker. Because that to me made no sense. Imagine, Legends, imagine you playing set 11, no Red Broly, and no Vegeta. And you're, not that you didn't win the event, but you didn't top cut an event. That was blasphemy to me. That's where that whole pilot talk came from. But yeah. Alright guys, thank you for joining. We will see you guys on Monday. And bring your questions, comments, and concerns there. Because Monday we'll probably discuss, I guess, the webcam event. Like I said, I do want to play Vegeta for an event. I had to find the time to play test, bro. Because I don't care how good you are. If you don't play test, you just think you're going to an event just because you're a name and then get top cut. You're going to be absolutely wrong. And yeah, if I do, I'm telling you right now, if I join a webcam event and tomorrow I find out time to play test, I'm going to get smacked. I go ITV, so yeah, it's going to be really, really bad. So, all right, guys. See you guys on Monday. Boom.